Chapter 341 Foreboding. On the way back, it was relatively peaceful. Anna didn't have any more shameful affairs with Shajirching that the king did not go to court earlier. Therefore, Shajirching was lying on the deck quite lazily, basking in the sun like a salted fish. Not to mention, just looking at Shajirching's handsome and tough face like this, Anna was inexplicably fascinated. Shajirching, who looks like this, is really good looking, and you can't tell that he is the big pirate with a bounty of more than 800 million. And just like that, they arrived at Mock Town. Mock Town has almost been repaired, the flow of people has begun to recover, and the return of Shajirching and the others has not caused much disturbance. The sea is quite calm. But I don't know why, in Sengoku in Marineford, enjoying this rare leisure time, I feel a heart palpitation inexplicably. As if something bad was about to happen. This feeling is probably my delusion. Sengoku couldn't think of anything specific after thinking about it, so he could only comfort himself like this. But is it really Sengoku's illusion? Sengoku, do you think that the calmness of the sea recently makes people feel a little wrong? I'm a little panicked. Garp pushed the door and walked in, saying this to Sengoku. Hearing Garp's words, Sengoku couldn't help being surprised and said, "You feel this way too?" Garp was taken aback by Sengoku's answer and said, "You too?" "Yes." Sengoku nodded, and then his expression suddenly became solemn. "I feel this way by myself, that's fine, but now that we both feel this way, it may not be an illusion, and what is it that I have overlooked? It can make the two of them feel uneasy. What does that mean? The source of the turmoil is not small. Can. No matter how much Sengoku thought about it, he just couldn't think of a clue. What the hell is wrong? Sengoku thought about it, everything was normal, and there was no abnormality at all. Could it be? At this time, Garp spoke, his eyes turned to the smiling bounty on the Sengoku desk, and he said with some uncertainty. "You mean, Thunder Hunter?" Sengoku followed Garp's gaze and saw Shajirching's reward. "I think it's probably him. If you can't think of other possibilities, maybe checking him is a way." Garp said quite firmly, and then, without waiting for Sengoku to speak, he said, "According to the report, Shajirching went to the New World a few days ago, met with Whitebeard, and then went to the Windless Belt to be received by the Empress." Sengoku, you should know better than me what it means to be accepted by the Empress. Garp's words made Sengoku's expression suddenly become more solemn. "It seems that we really need to check it out. The Thunder Hunter may really be a breakthrough." Sengoku made the decision just like that. Garp agrees with this decision. Shajirching naturally did not know that he would be investigated by Sengoku. He would never have imagined that Garp and Sengoku are both so sharp. It is possible to predict the danger in advance. When I disclose my relationship with Hancock, my true identity will probably be guessed by others. At that time, maybe the sea will shake again. Alas, Loki and I are indeed passers-by, and will never appear on me. Shajirching was busy with relocation, so she praised herself so stinky. Chapter 342 Does He Not Love Me Anymore? One day later. All the preparations for the relocation have also begun, and together with all the residents of Mock Town, they embarked on a journey to the Windless Belt. It's a great feeling to fly. Is this what it's like to fly? It's so exciting. It's really eye-opening. Town stood on the flying Mock Town, looking at the boundless sea below, and exclaimed infinitely. "President, it's really yours. I'm afraid there are not many people in the entire sea. You will think that you can still use this method to migrate." Gilles looked at Shajirching, and his eyes were full of admiration. "Ha ha ha, that's all thanks to you. These are all your scientific research achievements. Without your ingenuity, none of this would have been possible." Hearing Gilles's amazement, Shajirching said with a smile. "The view from the sky down, it's amazing, it's amazing." Chopper looked at the blue and somewhat dark sea, and was so excited that he kept running around Shajirching's body. "It's not just him. In fact, all the members of the Summer Chamber of Commerce at the venue, except Shajur-Ching, Enel, and Anna, have expressions of amazement on their faces. Because before this, they have never been to the sky. I have no idea what the sky looks like. In the future, you will gradually get used to it. After all, you will all live in the sky in the future. I hope that by that time, you will not be bored of such a life. Seeing these people looking surprised and curious, Shajur-Ching poured a handful of cold water on these people. Well, I hope not. Listening to Shajur-Ching's words, the excitement in these people's hearts suddenly decreased a lot, and they felt a little lack of interest. 9 Snake Island. Why isn't Shajur-Ching here yet? My concubine is so anxious. Will he not come? Why, mother-in-law, do you think he doesn't love me anymore? Hancock is already looking impatient, and doesn't want to wait a second longer. Lady Empress, wait a minute, from Mock Town to here, there is a distance of nearly 2,000 miles, and it takes time, and it doesn't mean that it will appear. My mother-in-law couldn't help laughing at Isha when she heard this. Hancock is really starting to worry about gains and losses. People in love, that's all, always worried that the other party doesn't love him so much. 2,000 miles, so far away, when will Shajur-Ching come? My concubine really wants to see him now. Hearing what his mother-in-law said, Hancock immediately covered his face and said with a struggling expression. Hurry is not enough, can't eat hot tofu in a hurry, be patient, Hancock. You are the main palace, he admitted to himself. How could he not love you anymore? Don't think about it, it will leave a bad impression on Shajur-Ching. When my mother-in-law heard this, her face immediately turned pale and she said with a slight reprimand. A bad impression, concubine is not like that. Hearing Granny's words, Hancock was immediately unhappy, his face straightened immediately, and he swore an oath. I know now, I won't say anything like that again, I will wait patiently for him to come. An LT, P and GT. Hearing this, my mother-in-law nodded in satisfaction. Don't be confused, recognize yourself, this is the correct concept of love. Chapter 343 Shajur-Ching, come. A day later. Hancock, how is the handover preparation? Hancock, who was fully looking forward to the news of Shajur-Ching's arrival, finally received a call from Shajur-Ching. Yes, the concubine is ready, Shajur-Ching, you are finally here, the concubine is so happy. Hancock's excitement is unparalleled, the whole person seems to be resurrected, like a shy little girl, wishing to directly pass through the phone bug and appear beside Shajur-Ching. Okay, then get ready, we've already arrived, you've been waiting for a long time. When we're done with the handover, we can go see Daddy Whitebeard, and when I'm 18, we'll get married, okay? Shajur-Ching's voice is gentle and magnetic, and with the majesty of Vivi, people can't help but be addicted to it. Really? Great, concubine is so happy, concubine will work hard to be a wife. Hearing this, Hancock was so excited that he could barely stand. Shajur-Ching, of course, when did I lie to you? Hancock nodded heavily and said, my concubine knows. Then, Shajur-Ching hung up the phone bug. Just when Shajur-Ching hung up the phone bug, 9 Snake Island was over. A huge shadow is coming. Shajur-Ching, with everyone in Mock Town, join us. As expected of a man from Lady Empress, it's amazing that he moved the entire island here. The female warriors of 9 Snake Island looked at the huge black shadow in the sky, and couldn't help but marvel in their words. What kind of hard material is needed to support this kind of island-level flight? What kind of powerful power can be driven, and what kind of advanced technology can be produced? The funds in it are not a small amount when you think about it. Is this the capital of the Summer Chamber of Commerce? It's amazingly powerful. Marigold and Sandersonia looked at the sky, and even though they were well informed, they couldn't help being shocked by what they were seeing now. In their hearts, they also had a new understanding of Shajur-Ching's power and tyranny. It was when they were so surprised that a sudden fall from the sky, no, it should be a person with a terrifying thunder light lingering all over his body. It's Enel. With a listless face, he swept over Marigold, Sandersonia and others, and asked weakly, "How is the handover work that we asked you to do before? Has the groundwork base been excavated?" Sandersonia replied, "It's been excavated, will I take you now?" "Wait a minute, I'll report, there will be special construction personnel with you, I'm just here to ask and confirm." After getting Sandersonia's affirmative answer, Enel immediately dialed Shajur Ching's phone bug. After confirming with him, a powerful thunder light erupted from his body, and then, all of it was injected into the instrument under his feet, and he lifted off into the sky. What kind of device is this? It can even lift off. It was only now that Sandersonia and the others noticed the device that looked like a walking skateboard under Enel's feet, and they couldn't help but have an eye-opening feeling again. Mock Town. Is this the legendary daughter country Amazon Lily? I really want to go down there and see, if I can go there once, even if I don't have this life, I'm willing. Some people said with anticipation on their faces. Chapter 344 Never Parting. Come on, just get over it, are you really willing to die? Don't think about this kind of thing, let's talk about the guards of the Summer Chamber of Commerce if you can break through. Besides, the Thunder Hunter has given orders to die. If anyone dares to cross the border and appear in the Amazon, once they are found, they will be killed without mercy. I don't think anyone wants to make fun of their own lives. Of course, this idea was quickly refuted, albeit in a joking tone, but the truth was true. And the person who just said that also understands this matter, and after being learned, they will not talk about it again. Okay, let's all do our best, and we will start a new life in the future. At an altitude of 10,000 meters, the air is thin. If you want to live here, you should try your best to adapt. A person who seemed to be the leader said, letting these people spread out. In the distance, Shajur Ching also stood up and ordered to the people beside him, "Okay, everyone can take care of their own affairs, and get the relocation as soon as possible. Next, new routes and new operating models, all will be launched, and I hope everyone will continue to work hard." Quote. The crowd replied, "Yes." In the tone, it is completely wary, and no one has ever had the intention of retreating. Seeing the expressions of these people, Shajur Ching nodded with satisfaction. After all, it was his carefully selected talents, and it really was extraordinary. Professional things are left to special people to do. Shajur Ching, the top manager, also has his own things to do. Go meet Hancock and discuss going to meet Whitebeard. And if the identity is exposed, the follow-up countermeasures. This is also a pretty important thing. 9 Snake Island, the Royal Palace. Shajur Ching, you are finally here, I miss you so much. I miss you, I don't want to leave you for a moment. As soon as Shajur Ching appeared at the 9 Snake Island Palace, Hancock rushed over like a rushing swallow, and hung tightly on Shajur Ching's body, telling him his thoughts. Me too, don't worry, I can almost be with you in the future, and I won't be separated again. Shajur Ching also hugged Hancock tightly, sniffing the fragrance of her hair greedily, feeling the warmth of the world's #1 beauty. It's really great, the concubine is so happy, the concubine can finally stick to you every day. Hearing this, Hancock was so happy that he even burst into tears. Shajur Ching's chest was wet all of a sudden, he gently caressed Hancock's fragrant shoulders, jade back, and gently soothed her. Behind Shajur Ching, Anna quietly appeared, hooked Shajur Ching's neck, and leaned on Shajur Ching's shoulder, also with a look of satisfaction. What is happiness? This is probably it. The female warriors of 9 Snake Island around were also sensible and did not disturb them. The next day. Come on, go to Daddy Whitebeard, hee, don't be nervous when you get there. Shajur Ching, who was dressed in casual clothes, looked at Hancock and Anna, who were dressed quite grandly, and couldn't help joking. My concubine will not be nervous. I am the Emperor of 9 Snake Island, how can I be nervous? Hancock's palms were sweating, and he said he wasn't nervous. Seeing her like this, Shajirching couldn't help shaking his head, and then, holding the two beauties, set foot on the special ship in the windless belt of Nine Snake Island. Chapter 345 Winner in Life. But Shajirching's movement is so big, it is naturally impossible to hide the reporters who are everywhere in the sea. Therefore, the news that Shajirching appeared on Nine Snake Island and took the Empress Hancock to the New World, but within one day, it was printed in various editions by major newspapers and spread throughout the sea. In an instant, the sea once again set off a frenzied storm because of Shajirching. To even take down the Empress Hancock, this is too fierce, there is nothing that the Thunder Hunter can't do. Hi, it's really high, I didn't expect the Thunder Hunter to have such a great charm, even the Empress has fallen. My goddess, you were taken down like this, my heart is dead. All kinds of people on the sea have all kinds of different ideas, marvel, regret, wailing, and so on. Thunder Hunter, this guy is really powerful. In this way, not only can I get the Empress, the world's most beautiful woman, and she has a lot of beauty, she can also get the Nine Snake Island Kingdom behind her, which greatly enhances my power. It's true. Kill two birds with one stone. Quote. How come all the good things are done by the Thunder Hunter? I'm really envious. There are also sensible people who pointed out the benefits of Shajirching's actions. In short, with the continuous dissemination of the news in the newspapers, the sensation caused is getting bigger and bigger. Naturally, this kind of thing cannot be hidden from Marine and Sengoku. Marine Headquarters. Hey, kid, you're really either doing something, or you're on the way, you really don't want to stop for a moment, and every time you make something big, you can't stop it, let me have a quiet meeting. Son. Quote. Sengoku got the news, he knew that the ominous feeling he and Garp had come true. One or two Shichibukai, this is not enough, let alone this Thunder Hunter, who also has a trading relationship with Whitebeard. If it wasn't for Shuitong Shajirching already dead, I really want to directly confirm that you are Shuitong Shajirching, Thunder Hunter. Sengoku definitely doesn't allow two Shichibukai to get together, it's not good for their marine to keep their balance, so one Shichibukai must be removed. Thunder Hunter doesn't care about this place. Removing his Shichibukai doesn't affect him much. But the Empress Hancock is different. Without Shichibukai, her Amazon Lily is in danger. I think the normal decision should be to remove the Empress position. But, speaking of this, Sengoku narrowed his eyes suddenly. This time, I will do the opposite and cancel the Shichibukai title of Thunder Hunter, so that his Summer Chamber of Commerce will be in trouble. An LT, P and GT. He doesn't really care about the title of Shichibukai, but it is undeniable that the role of the title of Shichibukai on the development of his Chamber of Commerce is definitely not small. The Shichibukai title of the Empress, just keep it, and continue to use it to check and balance the four emperors and other pirates. She can even shock more pirates through her current relationship with the Thunder Hunter. And with the title of Shichibukai vacated, I can continue to recruit a pirate and play a greater role. In the end as Sengoku, the ingenuity changes. Garp, what do you think of this idea? Sengoku asked Garp, who listened to him the whole time, and asked. I have no opinion. Garp agreed, he got up and said, this sea is so chaotic, it seems that this old man has to go out to sea again, and this Thunder Hunter, although it is still useful to keep him, but I also have to warn him. Let him be so unscrupulous again, Marine's Majesty will really be ignored by him. Chapter 346 Good, it's mine. Okay, sorry to bother you. Hearing Garp's words, Sengoku was stunned for a moment, then nodded, he really didn't expect this. Then, Garp left. Sengoku, on the other hand, took out a stack of reward orders and started flipping through them. It's really not that easy to find a pirate as good as the Thunder Hunter. Sengoku exclaimed while flipping through the pages. The characters on the bounty orders presented in front of him are basically 200 or 300 million, and their strength is not too strong. Hey, the bounty is 418 million. Not bad, not bad, it's you, the hungry wolf queens. Sengoku, eyes suddenly stopped on a young face. This is a man with green hair and 4 scars on his left face, about 30 years old. But then again, Thunderhunter, why did you take the Empress Boa Hancock and the Mudstream daughter Anna to see Whitebeard? Is there any secret that I don't know about? Not to mention, Sengoku can figure out other problems, but this one thing can't be figured out. In his imagination, Shajur-Ching, the Hunter of Thunder, has no father-son relationship with Whitebeard. This is very similar to bringing his daughter-in-law to meet his parents. What is going on? Could it be, a bold thought suddenly appeared in Sengoku's head, has the Thunder Hunter worshipped Whitebeard as his father? However, Whitebeard has a feud with the Thunder Hunter. Will he agree to such a request? Sengoku thinks. He also thinks that Whitebeard is not that kind of person. Then what is going on here? How should this matter be explained? With Sengoku's ingenuity, Rao couldn't figure out what was going on until he connected Thunder Hunter with Shajur-Ching. And on the sea. Furfur, you're really good at it, Thunder Hunter. Aren't you afraid of being jealous of Marine because you have such a close relationship with Whitebeard? Doflamingo is still so arrogant. Shajur-Ching didn't know that he would leave Luffy in the future with a Doflamingo that was even stronger than the original. This also led to Luffy's downfall when he just set foot in the New World and was about to show off his skills to liberate Dressrosa. Alabasta. Thunder Hunter, your development speed is really too fast. Your existence is more and more able to affect my plan. No, I have to speed up. If Cobra finds any loopholes, if I connect with the Thunder Hunter, my plans will really be in vain. Crocodile thought this with a dignified face, because he knew that no matter how careful his plan was, it would become pale in the face of absolute strength. And Shajur-Ching has this kind of strength. Other seas, North Blue. It even moved the whole island away. It seems that the Summer Chamber of Commerce has a good scientist. A certain middle-aged man wearing scientific equipment, wearing a mask and holding a long gun said this. Very well, it won't be long before he will be part of our Germa 66 bag. He actually showed a sinister smile, with bad intentions. And this man is none other than the king of the kingdom of Germa 66, a member of the world government, and a colleague of Vegapunk, Judge. Chapter 347 See Parents. For him Judge, in his eyes, the 4 emperors are all on an equal footing with him, and Shajur-Ching, he has not taken it seriously. On the contrary, he also felt that it was an honor for Shajur-Ching that he could like Shajur-Ching's things. A strong man, like him is so unreasonable. Leaving that aside for the time being, let's look at Shajur-Ching and Whitebeard. Cool, good boy, good, really promising. Whitebeard looked at Shajur-Ching with a peerless beauty, and couldn't help laughing out of relief. You kid, you actually got the Empress Hancock, you can. Marco is also surprised and ridiculed. Ha ha ha, you are really the best person in our group. Sure enough, talented people are treated differently. Foil Vista was also full of ridicule. When his eyes swept across the faces of Hancock and Anna, they were all filled with emotion. Women like Anna and Hancock are lucky to get one, but Shajur-Ching is better, one person gets 2. Ha ha ha, Peach Blossom luck is really good. The rest of the people are also full of excitement, Shajur-Ching is so promising. Who could have imagined that Shajur-Ching, who was still a teenager in their eyes back then, has suddenly become a little adult, and he has also gotten 2 daughters-in-law all at once. Brothers, it's not good to make fun of me like this. Look at how shameful my baby is. Aren't you afraid that she will be ridiculed by you and that she will turn all of you into stone? She is the most attractive woman in the world. If you are not careful, you will all be her servants. Being ridiculed and not fighting back is not Shajur-Ching's character. He immediately ridiculed him back with a smirk. Hi. Hearing this, the group of people couldn't help taking a breath, and they couldn't help but take a few steps back. Concubine won't do that, you all are concubines, elders. Concubine won't mess around. It is hard to imagine that Hancock, who has always been extremely strong and domineering, will also have the attitude of such a young daughter. On the contrary, Anna on the side was holding Shajur-Ching generously, with a noble temperament. Cool, your kid has learned to be scary now. Well, come on, let's have a banquet, it's rare to have such a good opportunity. Whitebeard raised his arms and said with a happy face. Oh, there's a party. Hearing this, the rest of the people immediately cheered happily. Hey, Dad, don't you want to take the opportunity to drink and say that again? Marco on the side covered his forehead and said with a headache. Cool, this is a major event in Shajur-Ching's life, how can you not come to the banquet to celebrate such a happy event? Whitebeard looked like he wanted to hide it, but he said it so righteously. Okay, you're right. Marco scratched his head helplessly. He knew Whitebeard too well. He knew that this time, he couldn't persuade him to live with Whitebeard. So, a grand banquet started on Moby Dick Island. As the protagonist, Shajur-Ching was naturally toasted by turns. Even if he stopped drinking because he was not an adult, he was still drunk and unconscious. Concubine so happy. Shajur-Ching was drunk, how could Hancock go wrong? He was also drunk and beautiful, leaning on Shajur-Ching's arms, and was supported by Anna into the room to rest. Chapter 348 Young Man, Restraint. This night, Hancock completed the transformation from a girl to a woman. Even Anna, who originally planned to watch the fun, was not able to escape the clutches of Shajur-Ching in the end, and accepted the punishment of picking up Shajur-Ching together. This also caused someone to wake up the next day, as if they were drained, lying in bed and not wanting to get up at all. What a crazy night, what a young man with enough energy to stand up to such madness. Shajur-Ching rubbed her waist that was about to break, and couldn't help but smile bitterly in her heart. After drinking alcohol yesterday, he grabbed Hancock and fired it directly 7 times. After Hancock begged for mercy, he caught Anna and fired it 4 times before he gave up and fell into a deep sleep. After a night of tossing, let them have a good rest. Looking at Hancock and Anna who were still sleeping, Shajur-Ching left the room lightly. When he came to the deck, he happened to bump into Marco. Marco looked at Shajur-Ching with a playful look on his face, and said, looking at you, you had a great time last night. However, you are still young, you should pay attention to moderation in this kind of thing, and don't ruin your body. Marco finished speaking. Foil Vista on the side also looked at Shajur-Ching with a playful face, and said, young people, you should pay attention to your body, there will be time to enjoy the world in the future, there is no need to focus on this moment. You have to know that many of our brothers didn't sleep well because of you last night. Hearing these two people's words, Shajur-Ching couldn't help blushing and said, cough, isn't this too excited to hold back after drinking? Ha, are you really unable to hold back? Hearing this, Marco patted him on the shoulder, gave him a meaningful smile, and left. It was originally I couldn't hold back. Shajur-Ching said that she couldn't convince herself, and then she couldn't help but smile bitterly, is it really just drunk and can't hold back? Then, he went to the kitchen. He's going to make a nutritious breakfast for Hancock and Anna to replenish their bodies. Yo, it's rare, I never saw you so diligent on the boat back then. Why, now that you have a wife, have you become so diligent? Thatch, chef of the Whitebeard Pirates and captain of the 4th Division, looked at Shajur-Ching who was busy in the kitchen and couldn't help joking. I can't tell, your technique is quite skilled, not bad. But, having said this, Thatch suddenly shook his head and said helplessly, the next time you do something, can you pay attention to the influence? Your voice was a bit loud last night, half of the brothers in the pirate group heard it. You are really famous now. Hearing these words, Shajur-Ching really wanted to find a ground seam to get in right now. Such a shameful thing, so many people know about it. Well, can you please keep this matter a secret, and don't let Hancock and the others know about it. You also know that their girls are thin-skinned. Shajur-Ching looked at Thatch, touched her head and said shyly. Don't worry, Dad has already given you an order. We are just joking with you. In front of them, we will never reveal anything. Thatch's words made Shajur-Ching heave a sigh of relief, and then, under the guidance of Thatch, a delicious and nutritious breakfast came out. "Thank you, Brother Thatch." Shajur-Ching thanked Thatch well, and the latter also gave a thumbs up to Shajur-Ching and threw himself into the cooking. Chapter 349 High, Really High. After a simple breakfast, the beautiful Hancock and Anna, who were unsteady after their newly married Yanner, came to the deck accompanied by Shajur-Ching. "Dad, it's almost time for us to say goodbye." Shajur-Ching bid farewell. After staying here for too long, didn't he clearly tell others that Thunderhunter had a close relationship with Whitebeard? Shajur-Ching didn't want to expose it so obviously. "Cool, go ahead, treat them well. If I get a complaint from them, I won't spare you easily." Whitebeard grinned Isho, and said parting words. "Don't worry, Dad, I'll do the same if you don't tell me. My daughter-in-law, of course I have to love her." Shajur-Ching patted her chest and said that the company of two peerless beauties like Hancock and Anna is enough to comfort her life. "Well, let's go then." Shajur-Ching left, and left with two beautiful wives. It's just that Shajur-Ching didn't realize that just as he was leaving, the Blackbeard who was standing somewhere looked at him, and there was a low light flashing in his eyes. "Thunderhunter, you should be glad that neither of your two women's fruit ability is what I want, otherwise." Blackbeard didn't finish his words, but with his ruthless way of doing things, if Hancock and Anna's devil fruits were really targeted by him, their lives would definitely not be guaranteed, and he might even deal with their bodies. However, Blackbeard may not have noticed that when he looked at Shajur-Ching, the eyes of Marco, Vista and others all swept over him one after another. "Blackbeard, what's so special about you that makes this guy Shajur-Ching let us pay special attention?" In Marco's impression, the Blackbeard guy has always had a low sense of presence, his strength is not very strong, and he doesn't seem to be dangerous. He was really curious about why Shajur-Ching asked them to be careful about Blackbeard. However, although he didn't know what was going on, Marco still believed in Shajur-Ching. Even if doing so is already stepping on the red line of the Whitebeard Pirates rules, Marco and the others will never allow anything against the Whitebeard Pirates to happen. "Although I don't know why Shajur-Ching has such a big opinion about you, and even has a murderous face when he talks about you, this kid Shajur-Ching has never talked nonsense. Let me see why he asked us to be careful about you." It can be said that the fate of Blackbeard, from this moment, will undergo different changes because of Shajur-Ching's words. Somewhere in the New World. As expected of Sengoku, it's a big surprise to revoke my Shichibukai title. Shajur-Ching leaned against the mast with the newspaper and said with some admiration. "I thought he would revoke Hancock's Shichibukai, but he revokes mine. High, really high. After all, even if my Shichibukai title is gone, Hancock plus my name can still deter many pirates, but their marine can recruit one more Shichibukai, one more combat power and deterrent. An LT, P and GT. After all, if Hancock's Shichibukai title is revoked, Shajur-Ching can still protect her. But without Shichibukai, Hancock will naturally no longer perform his duties to help them deter pirates. Influence, suddenly a lot less. Not worth the loss." And just when Shajur-Ching was so emotional, on the sea not far from Shajur-Ching, a pirate ship with a green bottom and a white wolf head and skull flag drove straight over. Chapter 350 I just want to see the difference. "Oh, I didn't expect to meet the master so soon, it's interesting." Shajur-Ching suddenly seemed to sense something, stood up, and looked at the ship that was coming towards them. Seeing this scene, Hancock and Anna immediately watched it. And on the ship opposite Shajur-Ching and the others. "Boss, you really don't avoid it, do you want to face them face to face like this? That is the Hunter of Thunder, an extremely vicious existence." A fat man with long green hair, looking at Shajur-Ching, couldn't help but panic and said to the man in front of him. "This man is called the boss by the fat man. Don't think about it, he is naturally the captain of this pirate group. In the whole world, there is only one pirate group with a white wolf head and skull flag on a green background, and that is the Hungry Wolf Pirates. Then, the identity of this man will naturally be revealed. The hungry wolf Gweens, the ruthless man with a bounty of 418 million. It is a supernova that has emerged recently, and the limelight has overshadowed Fire Fist Ace. Gweens heard this and said, "No, I believe he is not the kind of person who will take action against newcomers like us. Don't worry, I will not take any risks, I just want to see, with the world-famous Lay what kind of feeling does the hunter meet." Quote. They are also the winners of the supernova title. I want to see how far is the distance between myself and him. Is it really just a simple meeting? Captain, I have a bad feeling. Hearing Guinness's answer, the fat man couldn't help swallowing, and his expression became even more panicked. However, don't look at his cowardly appearance. He is the deputy captain of the Hungry Wolf Pirates. He is a ruthless man who is greedy for life and fears death, and has a bounty of 250 million. He is the best at using this expression to confuse the enemy. Gia Gia Gia, what are you afraid of? Just let us see if the legendary Thunder Hunter is as powerful as he said. The crew behind Gweens was not at all afraid, and they all showed their expressions of anticipation. Finally, the two ships meet. Gweens the wolf, that's right. Before Gweens could speak, Shajur-Ching spoke. His eyes swept across Gweens and the others, and Vivi's light flashed in his eyes. It seems that this is just a look, nothing happened. But, hi. Everyone, including the hungry wolf Gweens, suddenly stood up, and Shajur-Ching's gaze made them feel like they were swept by a peerless beast, which made people panic, and their momentum suddenly weakened. Dare not look at it. I don't know, what do you want to do when you approach my little broken boat? Shajur-Ching's eyes were so relaxed that they stopped on Gweens's body. Beautiful. But before Gweens could answer, the voices of his subordinates suddenly came from behind him. He couldn't help but follow their gazes and saw Hancock with a noble temperament like a fairy descending from the earth. At this moment, Guinness's heart twitched fiercely, and his eyes were dull. So beautiful. It's so beautiful. He must admit that this kind of woman, he wants to have. There is a thought called sinking in his head, and it just popped up like this, and took over his entire body out of control, completely unstoppable. Then, crack. The people Gweens saw, including himself, began to petrify quickly, which made him horrified. Chapter 351 Don't deceive people too much. He quickly stabbed his claws out and plunged into his thighs. The pain made him wake up quickly, and he quickly looked away, not daring to look at Hancock again. He didn't expect that Hancock's charm is really like the legend said, big and terrifying, can make people's bodies petrify. But Gweens can react so quickly, but it doesn't mean that everyone else can react as quickly as him. Except for the co-captain who was greedy for life and fear of death, Gabbard didn't turn his attention to Hancock, all the others were turned into statues. HMPH, a bunch of ants. You dare to covet the beauty of your concubine, you are beyond your own power. Hancock's arrogant snort came from Gweens' ears, causing a nameless anger in his heart. What madness, angered him, and directly made Hancock kneel down and sing Conquest under him. I don't know, what are you doing here? There must be a reason to stop me, Mr. Shichibukai. Shajur-Ching's voice came again faintly. It sounded very plain, but there was a strong majesty in the tone, and there was a great pressure to make people feel like their body was filled with lead. I didn't expect just being a pirate queen, she has already made us so embarrassed. I underestimated you. Please help me get my men back to normal, I'll leave right away. Gweens pleaded guilty. He didn't expect that his subordinates had already lost more than half of it before it even started. How could he fight like this? For the sake of his brothers, he can only admit it. Hee, I just came and I'm leaving, isn't it a little bad? Don't you plan to give me an explanation? After Shajur-Ching finished speaking, people had already appeared behind Gweens, sitting cross-legged on the boat rail, and said with a smile on his face, he looked quite friendly. But in those words he just said, there was not the slightest sense of friendliness. What do you want to explain? Thunder Hunter. Hearing what Shajur said just now, and looking at what he looks like now, Gweens asked. Hee, it's nothing, it's enough to leave 50 million to pass the money, as the cost of delaying our time. How, this should be a very worthwhile transaction. Shajur took a pear out of nowhere, took a big bite, and said. 50 million, don't you think it's too much? I can only give you 5 million at most. Gweens's face darkened immediately, and even Gabo behind him, his eyes became dangerous, and said, the lion's mouth is not good, Thunder Hunter, don't treat us like soft persimmons. An LT, P and GT. Oh, soft persimmons. Shajur laughed when he heard this, and then saw that his eyes instantly turned into a kaleidoscope, and said, illusion, gold binding. And when Gweens saw Shajur eyes, he yelled bad and retreated, so he was not affected. However, Jabber was gone, and he was attacked before he had time to react. Thunderbolt, Chidori's sharp spear. In the face of Gweens who was dodging out, Shajur eyes turned extremely fast, Akai turned, and a light like thunder gun pierced the air to Gweens. Claws of the Wolf King. Gweens roared, turned into a werewolf in an instant, wrapped armament hockey in his claws, and slammed the thunder gun away. Bang! Not to mention, his strength is quite good, and he actually blocked the thunder gun that was strengthened by 4 times. Chapter 352. I admit. It's kind of interesting, he was able to block my thunder gun, as expected of the person chosen by Mr. Sengoku himself. But, when Shajur voice sounded again, he was already behind Gweens, he couldn't help being shocked, and quickly turned around to resist. One blade stream Lebo. A sword wave wrapped in thunderlight exudes a terrifying breath that can tear the soul, and it is infinitely magnified in his eyes. The hairs all over his body exploded again and again. You won't succeed in this kind of attack. He wanted to stop it, and both claws blasted out at the same time, and they collided and walked away. But, PFF'd. At the moment when they met, the terrifying power in the sword wave made his complexion suddenly change, completely breaking through his defense and knocking him out heavily. Wow! Janbo ripped open his chest in an instant, and he would continue to rip him apart and take his life. No, how can I die here? I am Shichibukai, how can I die here? Gweens roared, he wanted to break free, but what made him feel cold for a while was that this sword wave, he couldn't break free at all. Could it be I, Gweens, going to die here? I'm not reconciled. Gweens shouted excitedly in his heart. It was at this time that a phantom flashed in Gweens's eyes, and then he felt his throat being caught, and then he pulled it over. Bang! Guinness was smashed heavily on the deck. Shajur looked at Guinness with a bloody face, and said, how, 50 million, or... Saying that, Shajur put his finger on his forehead, if I want to, this blow to Shigen finger pistol is enough to kill you. Stronger than Guinness, in Shajur hands, there is no resistance at all. You still like to play with your prey as always, can't you change this habit? At this time, Anna's helplessness came from behind Shajur. She stepped on the lotus step, and Vivi moved her long finger, and a piece of sticky soil wrapped Jabber. Then, turn it into a clay sculpture. What a beautiful piece of art. Anna said this with a smile on her face, but it made Guinness shudder when she shuddered. Compared with Shajur, Anna is the real ruthless person. I really don't know, where did you get the courage to stand in front of us? Only your 400 million bounty. Anna looked down at Gweens condescendingly, and the corners of her mouth were full of contempt. A person trapped by this clay sculpture will fall into a coma within 5 seconds, and suffocate to death within 30 seconds. So, you only have 30 seconds to think about Lord Naz. Hearing Anna's words, Guinness was in a hurry, and then, after thinking for 2 or 3 seconds, he made a choice. 50 million is 50 million, quickly let go of Gabo, and untie my brother, this time, I admit it. Compared with his subordinates, 50 million Baileys are not worth mentioning. It's bold, it's Shichibukai, really, it's bold. Hearing this, Shajurching immediately released Gweens. And Anna, with a wave of her hand, the clay sculpture cracked, and Jaber had passed out. Marrow marrow mellow. And Hancock, after receiving Shajurching's gesture, also released the petrochemical bondage. Chapter 353 Refused to Die. Suddenly, the petrified pirates all fell on the deck at once, rubbing their butts and howling. 50 million Baileys, come on, Lord Gweens, please pay. Shajurching looked at Gweens, who was coughing when he got up from the ground, and said expectantly, "It's a good feeling to be able to blackmail 50 million Baileys halfway." "What, 50 million, Thunder Hunter, why don't you grab it?" "It's too much, Captain, you mustn't promise him." When the crew of Gweens heard this, they immediately exploded. "Okay, don't talk about it, I'll make my own decision." Hearing the clamor of these people, Gweens couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. He also doesn't want to pay 50 million Bailey if he can. However, the situation is stronger than people, and if they don't give money, they may all be buried here today. Compared with life, money is not so important. It's the horror that the New World is famous for. Suppressing me is like playing. Gweens looked at Shajurching, said admiringly, and then ordered to the subordinate behind him, "Go, take 50 million Baileys treasure." "What, Captain, why are you giving them 50 million Baileys?" No, this is absolutely not possible, Captain." Hearing what Gweens said, these people immediately objected. "Shut up." At this time, Gabor actually scolded him angrily, "If you want the Hungry Wolf pirates to be disbanded here, you can continue to make trouble. 50 million to buy your life, if you think it's not worth it, just continue to make trouble." Immediately, the voices of these people calmed down, and it could be seen that Jaber's prestige was still great. "The reason your vice captain has already told you, and since that's the case, then follow my orders." Gweens sighed, and said with some tiredness in his tone, "Master Captain, do you really want this? When have we been so humiliated? There are still people who are unwilling to say it. Do as I say, I don't want anyone to question my choices again, understand?" Being questioned one after another by his subordinates, Gweens couldn't hang on his face, and his tone became cold in an instant, so that the person who questioned just now suddenly froze and dared not speak anymore. "Hey, I said 50 million is 50 million. If you don't want to, just stay, but in that case, your life has nothing to do with me." Gweens looked at the unwillingness on the faces of these people, and he was full of hatred. Why can't these people see through the phenomenon? 50 million is used for what? To buy life. Under the condition that the situation is stronger than others, it is really desperate to be obstructed here by pick and choose. If you want to die, don't drag them along. "Yes, Captain." Guinness said it so clearly, and naturally someone responded like a dream, and quickly answered. "It seems that your prestige is still not enough." Seeing this scene, Shajurching couldn't help saying with a smile on his face, "Hey, you don't have to worry about this matter." Hearing this, Gweens snorted coldly with a rather bad face. At this time, this guy is still here to sow discord and speak nasty words. If it weren't for his strength, and he was not an opponent, he would have rushed up to do it. "Okay, I don't care. As long as your money is in place, it's none of my business." Shajurching said with a very easy-to-talk, very low-pitched look. Chapter 354 What Wind Brought You. After a while, Gweens's men came over with a lot of treasures. "Thunder Hunter, take an inventory, the treasure of 50 million Bailey is quite a lot." Gweens's face was so ugly that it had reached the extreme, and Jaber's face was aggrieved. In this regard, Shajurching just wants to say that some things cannot be tried casually, and random attempts will cost a price. "You don't need to count, I believe you don't have the courage to lack a few pounds." Shajurching Vivi glanced at the treasure chests, and then gave Anna a wink, signaling her to pack up all these treasures. "Goodbye then, Giants the Wolf." Shajurching turned his back and waved his hand, making a goodbye look, but he was so complacent that one couldn't help but want to beat him. Damn! Seeing Shajur Ching's smug look, those of Guin's subordinates could not help clenching their teeth angrily, their eyes staring with fire. Shajur Ching, this guy is too good to be good when he gets cheap. Return. Shajur Ching left, and the hungry wolf Guins also ordered to leave. Looks like we have money for our children's milk powder. On the boat, looking at the treasures piled up like a hill on the deck, Shajur Ching glanced at the two Hancock girls and said jokingly, "Che, what nonsense are you talking about? I want a child, just wait." Anna couldn't help spit when she heard the words. Shajur Ching really dared to say anything. "Ha ha ha, why are you still shy? You are an old couple, what are you afraid of?" Shajur Ching couldn't help laughing when he saw this, looking like a hooligan. And Hancock, looking at them flirting like that. "Don't stop, don't say much." When Shajur Ching and the others arrived at Nine Snake Island, he was surprised to find that Garp's dog-headed warship was already near the waters of Nine Snake Island, looking like he had been waiting for a long time. "Mr. Garp, what kind of wind is blowing you here, what's the matter?" The moment Shajur Ching saw Garp, her heart sank. Garp's sudden visit to Nine Snake Island must be a bad visitor. "I won't play dumb riddles with you, just open the skylight and say something bright." When Garp heard Shajur Ching's voice, he stood up from his seat, then, looking at Shajur Ching who was standing on the deck behind him, he was approaching, and continued, "From now on, pay attention to your behavior, if there is anything beyond it, all will be severely hit by marine." Quote, "You who don't have the title of Shichibukai are now a vicious pirate. I didn't arrest you, and I have already given face to the Pirate Queen. You don't want to see the Summer Chamber of Commerce either, just destroy it in your own hands." The moment the words fell, Garp suddenly disappeared from the warship. Shajur Ching couldn't help shrinking his pupils instantly, and he felt a powerful and dangerous aura in front of him. Kaleidoscope. Shajur Ching immediately turned on the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, and Achi's increase was on his body. He immediately retreated very fast, but it still didn't work. Garp appeared in front of him like this, and then, the emission armament hockey wrapped in the iron fist slammed towards him. The speed was so fast that the air burst directly, giving Shajur Ching no chance to dodge at all. Of course, he can't dodge either, after all Anna and Hancock are behind him. Therefore, he can only face it. Chapter 355. Hope you really remember. Armed. Shajur Ching snorted loudly, and then, it was also a super violent punch. Bang! The moment they touched each other, Shajur Ching's already dignified face became even more difficult in an instant. Garp's fist made him feel like he couldn't resist it, even if a mountain collapsed. Hem. He hummed and was directly knocked back several meters away. And Garp. His fist was half an inch in front of Shajur Ching, and it was close to Shajur Ching's face. If he only needed to go in another inch, Shajur Ching's head would be severely damaged. Shajur Ching couldn't help but sweat on his forehead. He didn't see how Garp came so close. As expected of a marine hero, it's really amazing. The kid remembers it. Shajur Ching took another step back, wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, and smiled forcefully. "I hope you really remember, otherwise, it won't be long before the old man has to do it again." Hearing Shajur Ching's words, Garp cast a glance at him and said this. "Hee, I will definitely remember it." When Shajur Ching heard this, she could not help showing her white teeth, which was very meaningful. "Okay, close the team and go home, ha ha ha, stop by East Blue to see Luffy." Garp turns around and gives the order with a big laugh. What a heavy fist, is it someone who can smash mountains? It's powerful, and it's quite destructive. Shajur Ching looked at her trembling and deformed right arm, grabbed it tightly with her left hand, and then clenched her teeth and pulled it. "It's all right." After the sound of bones rubbing, Shajur Ching first took a breath of cold air in pain, and then showed a relaxed look of relief. With just such a punch, Shajur Ching's arm was dislocated by Garp. The strength of Admiral level is really terrifying and unimaginable. Shajur-Ching thought this way, and then converted all the 2,200 evolution points accumulated during this period into force points and added them to the force value. Host, Shajur-Ching. Writing wheel eye status, kaleidoscope 19,570 50 thousandths. Pupil power, 100 100ths max. Strength, 404. Skills, Chidori series, Thunderbolt series ninjutsu, new ninjutsu lightning armor, flying thunder sword. Illusion series, 3 body art, shadow clone art, 3 color hockey, marine rokushiki. Swordsman swordsmanship, Yidao Lulibo, profound truth destroy, Kanri. Suddenly, a powerful feeling rushed into Shajur-Ching's heart. A powerful aura also emanated from Shajur-Ching, causing both Hancock and Anna to look surprised. This kid, why did the breath suddenly become so much stronger? Even Garp, who had already left, couldn't help but look at it again in surprise. His eyes became even more solemn. Shajur-Ching's growth rate made him deeply worried. But now, Marine still needs his power to suppress the pirates. Hopefully, this kid can stay calm during this time, otherwise, we can only take the risk of causing turmoil to get rid of him. Garp gave Shajur-Ching a deep look and thought in his heart. And Shajur-Ching naturally noticed Garp's gaze, and said in his heart, it seems that before he has the strength to fight against this guy, he still needs to cause less trouble. Otherwise, if something like this happens again, I'll really have to stop. Chapter 356 I don't have money, it's hard for me to do things for you. It's okay. Hancock came over with a worried look on his face. Anna is also, her face is full of distress. It's okay, don't worry. Shajur-Ching saw Isho, and then he landed on the shore with the 2 daughters in his arms. Welcome back, Lord Snake, Lord Natsu, Lord Anna. As soon as they landed, several people were warmly welcomed by the citizens of Nine Snake Island. Thank you for your hard work. Shajur-Ching nodded towards them, and then walked to the palace. After the palace was tired and crooked for a while, Shajur-Ching and Anna took the special combat airship and flew to Sky Island. Moving to this Sky Island, the development strategy of the Summer Chamber of Commerce will also be adjusted. Just do it according to local conditions. Now that Shajur-Ching's subordinates have a large group of people to eat, it is no longer as simple as providing backup to Whitebeard as in the beginning. The current Summer Chamber of Commerce has become a collective of interests of all people. Even if Shajur-Ching does not want to develop the Summer Chamber of Commerce, someone will help him develop it. Anna, convene the high-level people, and dispatch the grassroots representatives to participate in this meeting together. The development of Sky Island is almost done, and some featured items that are compatible with both Sky Island and Blue Sea should be released. Shajur-Ching said to Anna, who was on the side. The latter nodded, and activated his ability, immersed himself under his feet and communicated with the earth, and then conveyed the news at the same time. So far, there is no phone bug on Sky Island that can make multi-line calls at the same time, so multi-line notification can only be done in this way. The people of the Summer Chamber of Commerce, after receiving the order of Shajur-Ching, immediately rushed to the conference room. In just 5 minutes, all the high-level executives have already arrived. And the grassroots representatives will be fully in place within the next 30 minutes. Efficiency is not high. Everyone, we are in a different position now, so the development strategy has to be adjusted. Then let's get started. Shajur-Ching began to state his views, which were all carefully thought out by him during the boring voyage. During the period, I also got a lot of good suggestions from Anna and Hancock. It can be said that Shajur-Ching has great confidence that this development strategy can be recognized by most people. First of all, our sales channels will continue to expand and improve. Secondly, the types of commodities should also be increased, the quality should be guaranteed, and new commodities should be developed. Then, Shajur-Ching spoke his thoughts in a leisurely manner, and everyone listened carefully, and from time to time someone was recording some keywords. Time, just like an hour passed. Everyone, do you have any different opinions on my development strategy? Ching took a sip of water to moisten her throat and asked. Expanding channels and developing new types all need money, but we don't have that much anymore. President, you see. It was going Emperor Tesoro who was speaking. His face was embarrassed, and he looked rather shy. Immediately, Gills also nodded, agreeing very much. How much more money do you need? Ching asked Tesolo, who was participating in the meeting through the video phone bug. The minimum is 45 million. It can't be done below this number. This is just my rough estimate. If you really want to calculate it, it is estimated that it will cost 50 million Baileys, but we don't have that much money at all right now. Tesolo spread out his hands, very helpless, like a clever woman who can't cook without rice. Chapter 357. I don't want to cause trouble. It seems that this is really a coincidence. Hearing these words, Ching suddenly laughed. Hancock and Anna couldn't help but look at Isho, which made everyone on the side a little stunned. What is Ching laughing at all of a sudden? Shouldn't he frown if he has no money? Everyone who saw them showed a confused expression because of their abnormal laugh, and Ching immediately explained. It's like this, when we came back, we met the new Shichibukai Hungry Wolf Guines and his pirates group. Quote. After some misunderstandings, they gave us 50 million Baileys as a financial aid and a welcome gift, so we are indeed still a little short of funds, but we are not at the point where it is difficult for a clever woman to cook without rice. After listening to Ching's explanation, everyone present couldn't help but laugh. Give away. Meet and greet. Financial aid. If there is such a good thing, they write the name upside down. Okay, the funding issue has been resolved for the time being. Do you have any other questions? Ching looked at the crowd again, and then, sitting in the corner, Chopper, who was a little afraid of his own life, spoke up, that actually, we don't have enough doctors. Okay, I took note. Is there anything else? Ching nodded when she heard the words, indicating that she had written it down, and then continued to ask. No, Chopper shook his head. Seeing this, Ching turned to look at the others, and the others shook their heads and said, I haven't noticed anything yet, but new situations may happen at any time. After getting their feedback, Ching probably had a bottom line about the current situation. He thought for a while again, and after confirming that nothing was missed, he glanced around the audience again, and said, then let's end today's meeting. Report any problems in time, communicate and deal with them in a timely manner, and don't let any inconvenience. Timely communication hurts the interests of the Summer Chamber of Commerce, understand? Quote. After hearing this, everyone nodded together, and then, they left the conference room one after another and went to their respective positions. Ching also got up and said in his heart, then, the Summer Chamber of Commerce will start to develop again. Everyone at sea, I will not provoke you, and I hope you will not provoke me either. Otherwise, the situation will be aggravated by then, and it will not be good for you or me. If I feel uncomfortable and provoke my people, I don't think you will feel comfortable either. After all, I am the most disgusting person. In the following time, everyone in the Summer Chamber of Commerce began to work hard for the new development strategy. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed so quietly. During this period of time, Ching, who did not have much to do, also personally participated in the practice process. Escort the entire program strategy to ensure that it develops in the right direction and the development track does not deviate from the route. And Ching's operation naturally won the support of many staff members and narrowed the distance with them. Naturally, Ching also heard more various development, management, and even technical suggestions from them. There is no doubt that these suggestions have a great positive effect on the adjustment of Ching's planned strategy and the development and transformation of the entire Sha Chamber of Commerce. Chapter 358 Move Me. Host, Ching. Writing Wheel I status, Kaleidoscope 19,570 50 thousandths. Pupil power, 100 100ths max. Strength, 437. Skills, Chidori series, Thunderbolt series ninjutsu, new ninjutsu lightning armor, flying thunder sword. Illusion series, 3 body art, shadow clone art, 3 color hockey, marine rokushiki. Swordsman swordsmanship, Yidao Lulibo, profound truth destroy, Kanri. The evolution points accumulated in a month, Shajurching is still all added to the force value. Today, even if he doesn't use Susanoo, he already has the strength of a general. With Susanoo turned on, and Akina's boost, it should be close to Marco's level. Now, it's a small achievement. Shajurching let out a sigh of relief, and was about to get up to get some air, but before he could think of it, Anna came over with a bad look on her face. Unfortunately to tell you, you may not be able to calm down. Hearing Anna's words, Shajurching suddenly felt a little bad, and asked, what happened again? You won't tell me, someone else is here to do something. When Anna heard the words, she smiled and said, you are so smart that you answered correctly, and this matter is quite important, and it happens that everyone can't get away. How about our president Shajurching, do you want to go by himself? A trip, quote. After Anna finished speaking, she sat directly on Shajurching's lap, her face full of charm, as if she wanted to be loved. Seeing his appearance, Shajurching suddenly felt it, and moved his head forward. Hihi Isho said, or we. Just as he said these words, Anna directly rejected him, I don't want it. Resolute, and there is no room for negotiation. He. Then, Anna stepped back from Shajurching's lap like an elf, and said with a face full of teasing, joking, it feels really good to run away after teasing. Hearing what he said, Shajurching suddenly had black lines all over his head and said, even if you have to leave, let's make things clear. What happened to make me go again? If you don't tell me, how would I know? It's another time delay to ask again. Shajurching shook his head helplessly and walked towards the Summer Chamber of Commerce. He was going to find someone to ask about the specific situation. After half a minute. Germa 66, you dare to rob the ships of our Summer Chamber of Commerce and hold our personnel hostage, you are really brave. When Shajurching asked, she found out that there was a ship carrying a bunch of researchers who went out to buy materials and was robbed by Germa 66. And this group of scientific researchers happens to be the people who know the manufacturing technology of island flight engines. Germa 66 has been clearly revealed, that is, island flight technology. Very good, let me see if you can bear it, my anger. The person who touched me is really itchy. Shajurching set off, and Hancock went to sea with him. Naturally, when Hancock went to sea, Marigold and Sandersonia would not leave, and they went to sea with Hancock. Great Route, North Blue. There is a magnificent castle on a ship dragged by a huge phone bug. And in the center of this castle, there is a particularly majestic, tall and fortified castle. Chapter 359 Waiting for the Thunder Hunter to come. In this castle, at this moment, it is quite lively. Everyone in the marine, the security work is left to you. If the Thunder Hunter comes, please help me stop him. A tall man wearing a metal helmet, with long golden hair, exhorted the marines under him. This man has a pointed black beard that goes up diagonally, a small beard on the prominent chin, an orange cloak, and a light gray combat uniform with the 66 logo. He is none other than the only world government member country that has no territory but can also participate in the World Conference, the King of Germa Kingdom, Vinsmoke Judge. Sanji Kurozu's father. Don't worry, the Thunder Hunter is indeed powerful, but we are not soft persimmons. If he dares to come, we will definitely try our best to stop him. A middle-aged man in light blue striped clothes said in a deep voice. This man is none other than Marine Vice Admiral Momonga. Beside him, Yamakaji, who was smoking a cigarette, squinted his eyes and said, the opponent is the Thunder Hunter. It's not easy to deal with. This is not an easy man to deal with. HMPH, it's just a mere hunter of thunder. If he dares to come, he must let him understand that our marine is amazing. Hawks, acting decisively, referring to resolutely, marine, Anagumo snorted coldly when he heard the words. His face was full of murderous intent. He, if you feel that there are not enough manpower, then I will let several dogs join the battle. If you fight side by side with them, it should not be a problem to stop a thunder hunter. Judge Isho, with a confident look on his face, when I get the technology of flying this island, I will definitely share it with you marine in time, and it will save you a lot of effort. That's the best. Anagumo and the others nodded when they heard the words, and then they closed their eyes and went away. Thunder Hunter, hey, let's see how strong you are. A red-haired young man's mouth evoked a cold arc, saying this. Don't let us down, Thunder Hunter, otherwise, that would be boring. A young man with blue hair and headphones, Vivi squinted his eyes, his face full of rebelliousness. Thunder Hunter, come quickly. I can't wait. This was said by a young man with green hair, his face was full of fighting intent. Of course they are not ordinary people. They are the three major forces of the Vinsmoke family and the pride of Judge. Big brother Spark Red, Vinsmoke IG. The second brother Dengeki Blue, Vinsmoke Niji. Third brother Winch Green, Vinsmoke Yuji. Is it really that easy to deal with? A woman with long pink hair was sitting in the bottom position, listening to the words of the three, and said so in her heart. She is the only eldest daughter and eldest sister in the Vinsmoke family, Vinsmoke Fan, Vinsmoke Reiju. She is not as optimistic as her three younger brothers. She has investigated and analyzed Shajir Qing's strength. She clearly knows how terrifying Shajir Qing's strength is. But even if I persuade them, they won't listen. Reiju sighed like that. As a woman, she never got much attention. After all, her strength is not as good as her three younger brothers, and in the Vinsmoke family, who is based on strength theory, without strength, there is no right to speak. Chapter 360 So disappointing. So what does the world government want this island flying device to do? The answer is also very simple. With this thing, they will be able to build a tighter security line in the future, that is, build an aerial assembly team to better maintain the peace of the sea. At the same time, it can also strengthen the control of the sea. Moreover, even if you don't build an air team, you can also use it on warships to build even larger warships to deter and maintain law and order with stronger troops. Thunder Hunter, come quickly, I am here waiting for you. Judge looked at the distant sky and thought to himself. Boom. Just as Judge was thinking like this, a huge vibration suddenly came from the Jerma kingdom, and then, there was the sound of an explosion, and there was the sound of a collision. Looks like our Lord is here. When Judge heard this, he immediately laughed, then looked at Momonga and the others who had stood up, and said, it's up to you. You three, you have to cooperate with them, understand? Judge still hasn't forgotten to give orders to his sons. Hey, don't worry, Father, I will definitely cooperate well. I also want to see if this Thunder Hunter is so famous, is it a worthy reputation? Iji grinned Isho, but obviously he didn't take Shajir Qing in his eyes. Let's go then. Following Judge's order, everyone present rushed out. Jerma. Lay done Furious Thunder Tiger. The gigantic Thunder Tiger with a height of more than 20 meters, wrapped in the power that can destroy everything, ripped apart the air and slammed into it, turning everyone around, and there was absolutely no one who could block his path. Hurry up and inform Lord IG that the Thunder Hunter is here. Jerma Kingdom all shouted like this. In front of them, Shajir Qing was like a god of war, driving them away with crushing strength, and they couldn't even stop Shajir Qing. In just 1 minute, Shajir Qing invaded nearly 2 kilometers away, and it was very close to the palace. No need to notify, we're already here. At this time, from behind these soldiers who were about the same length, there was an arrogant voice. The 3 human figures of red, yellow, and blue that I saw rushed towards the sky at high speed, and then they all rushed towards Shajir Qing. Thunder Hunter, let's see how strong you are, but don't be too weak, it will be too boring. The three of them shouted in unison, and then they saw flames, lightning, and explosive power coming from their fists. Then, in an instant, he rushed in front of Shajur-Ching and blasted away from all sides. The three figures who rushed over were none other than Ig, Niji, and Yuji. The three Vinsmoke brothers. Facing the three brothers, Shajur-Ching waved his hand to stop Hancock and the three of them from thinking of confrontation. Without raising his eyelids, he said, "Lei Dun Chidoryu." The lightning of 200 million volts, turned into a giant lightning net, radiated one-way radiation in the surrounding area of dozens of meters. In an instant, the surroundings were illuminated, so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. The soldiers around all screamed in an instant. It's just that, logically speaking, with such an intensity of lightning, even large sea kings would have to stop. But these three brothers didn't seem to have much the same thing. There was no sign of pain, but they said arrogantly, "The famous Thunder Hunter, only this level. It's really disappointing." Quote,